People who cover politics in this country, they know the name Ezra Levant. The rest of the country, they couldn't pick him out of a lineup, which I always believed was a very good thing because, without a doubt, he's one of the most aggravating men on this earth. And I only say that because, in full disclosure, he happens to be a friend of mine. I've known him for over 10 years. The last time I saw Ezra, I was doing a show in Alberta. The audience, they were all conservationists. They were saving rivers. Ezra picked me up after the show for a beer. I walked out front. There was Ezra, leaning against his Hummer, smoking a cigar, and yes, the engine was running, which I'm sure he did purely for my benefit. The man is a provocateur. He is an agitator, and now, thanks to the Alberta Human Rights Tribunal, God forbid, he's a freedom fighter because he has been defending his actions in front of that tribunal for the past 2 years. He has no idea when it's going to end. He has no right to a speedy trial. He has to pay his own legal costs. His accusers do not. So what is it that Ezra did? Well, he published the Western Standard, which in my opinion is a completely nutty magazine. He once published a column by a stay-at-home mother of 9 who offered witty tips from her pastor on how to avoid your children turning out gay. But to be fair to Ezra, every time I complained, he'd say the same thing. You should write your own column. I'll publish it next week, word for word. If nothing else, Ezra believes in freedom of speech, which is why I knew when half the world exploded because some newspaper in Denmark published cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. I knew Ezra would republish those cartoons so we could see what all the fuss was about. Yes, it would offend people, but I knew he'd do it anyway because that's what Ezra does. But hey, it's a free country. Well, it used to be. Since then, he spent over $100,000 defending his right to republish the cartoons. And his magazine? Well, the irony there is they went out of business. The gods of the free market took care of that. Turns out not that many people were interested in what the magazine had to say, so it's gone. But if we're not careful, if we force the Ezras in this country to shut up, our freedom of speech could be next.